Now I'm just tickled. All right. We needed to fix this one little part in the middle of the mini, so we'll kind of... Oh, I'm... All right, anyway. Causing myself problems here. Okay. Boom, boom. We'll have to see if Restream's being weird today or not. No longer hosting. Well, there we go. That's a good sign.
Yeah, it looks like we're live, I think.
Your volume sounds good. Music volume sounds good. Oh, people hate this song. Whoops. I'm just going to remove this. I like how it plays every time. Remove selected. Thank you.
So aside from the USB issues in the beginning, the video actually today looks especially sharp.
Yeah, so I cleaned both, and I'm using the pancake lens. So I cleaned the connector and like all kinds of stuff. So we're rocking extra crispo.
It does. It looks really good. Colors are really popping today too.
They're popping, man. They're popping.
Also, hello everyone who is in chat right now.
Hello. Justin and I are bonding right now. We're friends through torment. That's pretty much.
Yeah, the taunt spell on Voidwalkers and World of Warcraft.
Misery loves company. There we go. Ain't that the truth?
How you doing, Giggling Geekette?
So I'm gonna tint this down on top again. I've just been bothered because the airbrush sort of missed this whole part. So I'm gonna tint it real quick. But then again, what I'm applying right now is probably gonna get rubbed off by the glove either way. So probably the spine of this guy is gonna be like the last thing I go back and fix, but kind of how it goes sometimes when you're painting something big that can only be held really, like this miniature can really be held like 3 ways when you're working on it. So you're either holding it by the wings, holding it by the base, or the top. So it's kind of like, what are you gonna do, man? So, but hello to everybody. Hey Ken, what's going on? What's up, Road Dog? What's up, Karenko, Kuroneko? What's up, Geekette? What's up, everybody? Did the wing break? Which wing? Which one? This one? Yeah, it's been broken for that. This is how I received it. Was it broken? So I repaired it once, and then it broke. 2 weeks ago? And then I just haven't really, I'll be able to hide all the repair work whenever we get to that point in time. But yeah, this miniature was broken in a lot of places when I received it. I mean, even down to, I've talked about it before, but so like the reason why it looks like he's dragging this poor victim is because this arm's broken, the fingers are missing, right? Like, just one of those good old whoopsies. But, it was funny because at the time Ron was like, it's a little bit broken, so you may need to do some work. I'm like, oh, it's all good. And then I get it home, I'm like, ooh, boy, I gotta do some work. So right now what I'm more focusing on is this transition on the horns. So I'm going in and specifically adding some of this green. So looks like you airbrushed the model. Giggling Geekette. Wrong. So out of all of the... Oh, gosh, what episode would this be? So we're 13 hours of work into this miniature, and only, no, we're beyond 9, Ken. So I think we're at 12. I think we're 12 hours. So we're 12 hours in, and only about 40 minutes. Yeah, 9 hours of brush. Well, no, because only one episode was partially airbrushed, so like 45 minutes or so. But yeah, everything was done by hand, then you tint it, right? Oh yeah, 9 hours before we tinted it, and then everything else has been brushwork on top. So yeah, one reason why you may not know that that's what happened is because I work on all of this on my own channel. So everything's on Facebook, everything's on YouTube, everything's on my own Twitch channel. But yeah, all that work was done leading up to our Miniature Monday episode on the 30th. And then this is when the additional streams from me got tacked on, and we just figured we'd keep working on this guy. So, but yeah, it's hours and hours and hours of, work leading up to this point, and then now we're just sort of going in and manually editing everything down. So, but beyond that, I hope everybody is okay out there, and they are in good health and decent spirits enough to survive the apocalypse. My allergies have sort of chilled out a little bit today, but I'm still at that weird line of like, am I sick or is it allergies? And I'm convinced it's either very mild something, but pretty much, yeah, Quarren Stream episode 10 is the one from last Friday. So yeah, we're looking at 11 episodes. There you go. But
I think I'm gonna change the Josh's things command here pretty soon because
Get rid of that apostrophe.
it's the most
Just do Josh.
People want to do like Josh's stuff. Josh's like it is the most commonly typed in, and then nothing happens. And you know, Max Powers is probably the biggest offender of it.
Yeah, I would do
Max.
just Josh maybe. I mean, there is no other Josh, so for now at least.
Josh crap, just all one word.
Yeah, Josh is a big fat idiot. There you go.
Wow,
so
that's okay.
You said it anyway.
Yeah, those are.
You said it. You literally just said it on the mic. Everyone in the chat put a 1. If Justin just said I'm a big fat idiot, I know you heard it. Drop 1s in the chat. Drop them. Look at this.
No one drop a 1.
Everyone dropping 1s. There they are. See, Justin, I have the power. I can mute you. I can end you, Justin. Don't start.
Don't you guys betray me like this.
All right, so. Wait, why is the song that everyone hates still here? Hold on, people. Hold on. I got y'all. All right, there we go. Jeez. How does it do that? That's hilarious. All right, so. If I have your stuff in the cart, if you're on Amazon, essentially, I don't know if it's something that's already in your cart. I think it's one of those things where like you follow through the link and then anything you add to your cart and purchase goes that way. I'm not sure. That's a thing I should probably research. I know pretty much what they tell you is like, oh, just tell people to do their normal shopping after they follow your link. So maybe that's kind of the caveat. But literally all that would mean is empty your cart, click the link, and then add it all back, and you're good to go. So I think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it should. It should work that way. It is an imperfect system, but it does help quite a bit. So, you know, like, so I was I'm not saying supposed to. The plan was that I move by the end of the month with my girlfriend to where she's living now, and then she's also renewing the lease. However, a bit of a situation has happened there. So her roof has a hole in it as of I want to say maybe 12th or 13th of last month. So much so that the rainwater, I mean, you guys remember if you've been watching, the rainwater was coming through the ceiling inside of her bedroom, and they had to replace the carpet. Now then, her apartments haven't fixed the hole in the roof. They put a tarp on top and 2 cinder blocks, and they replaced the carpet, but the tarp is no longer on the roof, and one of the cinder blocks has fallen off, and she keeps emailing them and is like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, someone else's roof had to be fixed, so you're next, don't worry. And then another week goes by. So do not be surprised. Now then, I will move the Earth, Moon, and Stars to make sure I can still be available on whatever Monday I need to be available. But we're probably going to be forced into a position where we've got to pay a very large security deposit and move and da-da-da-da. So my life's about to get very difficult really quick here towards the end of the month, but I just really feel uncomfortable signing a year-long lease somewhere that, especially right now, is literally because I understand if you're like, oh, my sink's backed up, can you come fix it? And they're like, not right now, sorry. But because they put a notice out to all of the houses. She lives in a like duplex housing thing, so it's all little houses. And they sent a thing out that was like, hey, your rent's still due. We're still going to evict you, even though they can't. Literally, no one in Dallas County can be evicted for months. And so she's paid rent. She's done all of that. And that's what we were thinking was the issue, is that maybe they're not doing repairs because they're afraid people aren't going to pay their rent. So she paid her rent like you should, right? And no, her repairs still haven't been done. So, you know, I'm uncomfortable signing a year-long lease somewhere where this is how they're doing it. They're just not doing repairs on the exterior of houses, whatever. So definitely kind of concerned with what my future looks like very rapidly as we move through the month. So, but, you know, we're looking at lots of places that are very eager to have anybody move in that probably don't need a hole in the roof fixed so that your house doesn't flood and need new carpet. Because that's the thing too. It rained. I mean, it's been raining down here. Anybody that lives in the area knows it's been raining a ton. And last time I was over there, I was like touching the carpet in the room that they just replaced, and I'm like, man, I got to be honest with you. I feel like this is damp. Still haven't fixed the roof. Roof is like, dude. Anyway, so that's kind of what my future here looks like. So, you know, obviously my income is greatly destroyed, and then our fancy little federal paychecks are definitely not showing up by the end of this, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm assuming. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what I have to do. But, you know, unfortunately, I don't really have a bunch of miniatures that I've painted here to sell either. I know a lot of, you know, even my favorite painters on the planet. So, like, my favorite painter alive is Nico Dees over in France, Little Demon painter, and even he's putting all his stuff, like all of his stuff up for sale, and I'm just kind of like, man, everybody's in the same position. So, but other than that, and that's all I'm really looking at. I mean, you know, everybody else is in the same boat, other than crap. Now I have to move. So, but anyway, enough about that. I don't remember what we did. Yeah, right, renter's rights. Well, the thing is, I already talked to my lawyer about it, and he's like, yeah, you can leave. Like, the second that it's been over a month, that lease is void, because that's like a major repair, and it's water damage, mold, whatever. So that lease is done. So we can just leave, you know, and not say a word to him or whatever. And the lawyer, you know, my lawyer is definitely capable of handling and sort of, you know, navigating all those waters, because that's what he had to do in Oklahoma City for me when I moved out of there, because that was a huge mess as well. But yeah, I mean, she's just getting more and more upset every day that she still has a leak coming through her roof. So it's interesting.
Give Sydney an old hug for me. I'm sure it'll be okay.
Good old COVID hug, 6 feet away.
Good old COVID hug. Well, yeah, you gotta like, it's a weird air hug, but it worked. Right.
It's kind of like a cold sore. You're like, if I've got it, you've got it now.
Since this COVID started, I've been sleeping on the couch because I'm dedicated to social distancing.
I'm sure that's doing wonders.
Oh, it's working very well.
How funny.
She won't even talk to me anymore. She's really dedicated.
Wow, that's impressive. How funny. I don't remember when we did the eyes. I would think probably, I don't know, maybe episode 10? I don't remember. Not sure on that answer, sorry. All right, so we can pretty much get started on a different section. I guess we can flesh out the cowl here, or whatever we want to call this thing, the fin. But I'm wondering what color to do. Maybe some kind of purple, I'm thinking. I'm going to grab Styx purple, and we'll see where we can go from there. Actually, we're going to use the Miniature Monday color, Deep Twilight. It's going to make me laugh every time, Justin. It's going to be impossible to laugh. All right, so I'm going to use this color for a second and tint it up on the top away from the orange. I'm using episode 10. There you go. So I'm going to tint the top. I want to use a purple because it's our best friend to orange, which is that nice auburn color that we used previously. As you can see, it's going to blend in nicely. Now then, of course, the little neck part here was also broken. You can see the break right there. And it's actually been re-glued in such a way that it's kind of confusing. So I'm not sure what the original print looked like. But I'm not really good at green stuff like in a thin sheet like that. So I'm not even going to attempt to fix it. We're just going to pretend that he's just got a weird little rip. I'm pretty sure that's normal for dragons that have seen some action, so.
Is some action in quotations?
Yeah, you know, he's a hoarder of toilet paper, so he's got to go fight the lions at Walmart, pretty much.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and also then bring in some of this, wrong color, Styx purple. I was going to say runic purple, but that one's way brighter. Shockingly brighter. Like, way brighter. I was pretty far off. Yeah, Peter, I've noticed the mail around here has been weird. So like, I think 1 week ago or 2 weeks, I think it was last week at the beginning of the week, we didn't get mail for Monday and Tuesday, or Monday or Tuesday they gave us Monday's mail because I get like I get the informed mail delivery service thing, and that was really weird. And then the next day the mail was at like 7. And then the day after that, it was there at like 11 a.m., which is very not typical. So I don't know what's going on, but they've definitely got a weird schedule happening. But I'm sure they were adjusting too, because like mail carriers here, it was in the news, and North Texas had COVID. There were 2 of them at a distribution center, so I'm sure they had to make some rapid changes. It was right about that same time, so.
I actually knew someone in real life who got COVID, but I'm not at liberty to say.
Oh, really? Yeah, same here. Now it's getting to where it's like, yeah, I know a couple. None of which are in, dire straits, but... Or no, that's not true, actually. Someone did tell me they're not doing well, so I'll take that back. But hopefully, everybody will eventually be okay. I gotta be honest with you, guys. This is real serious. I think Arthur farted. Gotta be honest with you. I'm smelling a smell. If you've ever seen that Mr. Krabs meme, I'm smelling a smelly smell, man. And I
Funny you say that, because I found out last night that you can watch the first 5 seasons of SpongeBob on Amazon Prime.
That's hilarious. Okay, yeah.
Guess what I was doing at 1:30 in the morning?
Or whatever his SpongeBob laugh is.
It was fantastic.
Alright, so I'm gonna get a little bit of this. We're using all kinds of Miniature Monday colors today. We're gonna use that Bethalian chitin again. Oh, sorry, that's the unlucky side. We gotta use the lucky side. Lucky side, there we go. Those noises are required whenever you use a pokey tool, by the way. In case you didn't know, you have to go.
No, in efforts to help those around me, San Antonio, who need toilet paper, I started taking my 2-ply and turning it into 2 separate 1-ply.
Wow.
I'm super rationing toilet paper. Just
very rational.
I'm not actually splitting it, but I am rationing my toilet paper. You commit to every third visit to the restroom, you just get in the shower instead, and it really cuts. That's a trick I learned from Josh Davis, in case anyone's curious.
I don't know who that is, man. That guy sounds crazy. What a beast. Alright, so I'm slowly trying to highlight this up a little bit, and then we're going to tint it down, as per usual. Sort of a very slimline version of what we had going on the scales. Yeah, well, I mean, if everything goes wrong, I'll just turn into an inkjet and use printer paper, so... Alright. Gotta keep the same consistency so I can go back on the other side and do everything as well. Man, the wing rub is real though. You can see we've lost that tint. So like I said, I'm gonna have to keep re-tinting that down. But that's the only place, like if I'm painting this, my hand can't not hit it. I mean, maybe I need to wear 2 gloves, but I really don't want to waste my gloves at all.
I can really appreciate, Bishop Odo, that your advice there came with a disclaimer of do not flush the paper towels, because so many people are like, just use paper towels, and they don't ever tell people not to flush them like they're flushing them.
That's
And
very,
that is
yeah.
a way to destroy a septic system.
Yeah. Or wet wipes.
Oh, it's just don't flush that stuff.
And people are like, well, it's gross. But it's gross. I don't want to.
You know what you could still buy at the store though? Garbage bags. So
True.
just start just throwing it away, basically.
You smart, Justin. You smart.
On that note, though, I will obviously choose the shower method over paper towels almost any day.
Oh. So I'm going in and I'm just doing some implied texture here. So I'm going to be doing just random lines, patterns, you name it. We're going to be forcibly sketching it in. Of course, I'm using a lighter purple color right now to do the highlight. And then we'll see what I tint it. I don't know what I want to tint it. I mean, we could literally tint it down with, we could do purple. We could use phthalo on top of it and kind of see how it happens. So. Where's my, I don't like this boring song. There we go. This song is called Chips and Donuts. Interesting. Let's see if it reminds us of chips and donuts.
In Russia, TP wipes you.
Oh, really? You know, in Russia, the TP has a camera. Camera and a mic. That's how that works.
Oh, boy. Just the way I like my TP.
It isn't CCTV, it's CCTP.
Oh, that's too far. Too far.
That's funny. All right. I'm gonna go in with a little bit lighter color. What's funny is I had a bunch of Russian friends in college that were all study abroad people, and I learned all of the nicest things to say in Russian. Now, I can't have a conversation with you, but I can definitely start a fight in public. That's for sure. Assuming somebody speaks Russian.
I only know one thing, and it's definitely not polite.
Yeah. My friend Alexi's mom, anytime I'd go over there, she'd be like, Josha, you hungry? I make snack. And then she comes back with like a tray full of things that you're like, how did you just make this appear? What just happened? She's like, you want dumpling? I make dumpling for you, Josha. I'm like, oh, okay, well, sure. All right, so I'm pretty pleased here with some of the patterning we're getting. Really, it's just gonna be a question of how much of it shows up whenever we're done, but we'll see. Stuff on the wings were really subtle, which, you know, is totally fine. It's what we were sort of expecting. Well, now this color is totally different. I think I may have just made a bit of, no, okay, that's all right. I was gonna say, I think I've made a bit of a oopsie here. Bit of a oopsie, all right. I hope you guys all had fun with the Panthers yesterday. I know I saw Joni. If Joni's watching live in the chat right now, I saw she painted up both her panther and her lion. She did a black lion, which was cool. And then the mane, I think she did like sort of like a bluish color, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mistaking that. But I do know she did the lion at the same time, which was cool. The male. But I was definitely pleased with that. If you did miss out, of course, we were doing the jungle kit for Miniature Mondays.
It's good that you asked that, McKinney, because I believe after the stream I'm going to refresh the ones that are supposed to be on each of the videos that they pertain to. So I would say refer to the description of the YouTube videos. Most of them should have the link already, but in the event that they got wiped at some point by Collins' copy and pasting, then I will go back and put them in.
Yeah, the only kit that just doesn't have anything is January, because that was just before that was a part of the deal. So
there's 3 total prep videos, or is there more than that?
There is more than that, because there was one for the Spider Lady, and then we did basing for the Underdark kit, and then
Oh, I remember now. Okay.
yeah, so there are some have basing videos after we also decided that was then a thing, and then some have prep videos. So like oh no, there was a prep video actually for the, not a basing video, but there was a metal prep video for the hero from January, just not basing. So like some have some do, some don't. It just depends, right? Because this is obviously a constantly changing and evolving thing. Heck, you know, the name might change. It may be called painting miniatures with a kit you just bought days. You know, you never know. It's all fly. You know, we adjust here. He said, yeah, there's a prep video for the wizard. Pretty much all the metal ones had something. I don't know if the, I mean, I even think the chick with the 2 blades had one, and it was like 4 minutes. You know, like even if the metal videos got nothing involved, I'll still post it just so that people can feel comfortable that may not feel comfortable prepping metal minis. But the basing videos are the ones that usually are a little bit longer, or if we have something that requires a lot of assembly. So, yoink. All right, so I'm pleased with that. Now what I'm gonna do is actually take a skin tone, like we've been doing. So we're gonna use tanned skin. Josh's thing. Welcome to Josh's things. That'd be cool. Wah, 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 wah. Whoa, there we go. Go over here so you can see what's happening. I feel like I'm dying because I should have run to the big boys room before we got started. This song sounds like a waterfall. So I'm going to texture out the base here, and then that way we can glaze over everything in some way, shape, or fashion. And by base, I mean the area where we've got down here. Let me see. Like wherever we have sort of the reddish hue is what I'm trying to highlight up. And by highlight, of course, I mean what we've been doing, so it's not the real highlight. More just adding some visual stuff.
Also, unless they got updated, I think all of the April kits are sold out right now.
All the what? The kits? Yeah.
Yeah, the April kits, yeah.
They've been selling out every day, so. Is there a reason to how you move the paint from the ball to the palette? Is there... Do I do something weird? Give me more, Sharky. Give me more of a question. I'm confused. Sometimes I tap the cap if it's clogged. Other time, I think that's what you're referring to. If I don't want to spend the time using the clogger, I just pull the cap and tap it. So, because it's clogged. Like I always forget to. I like never put the caps back on top. Yeah. There you go. Answered it for you. My paint's always clogged at the top because I don't put the lids back on unless I. Like, when I'm, like, actively painting and not thinking about it, I never do it, so. It doesn't really ruin your paints at all. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. Unless it's Citadel stuff, obviously, then yeah, it ruins your paint. Because you have the pots instead of the droppers, so. Alright. Now then, let's ruin this whole thing. My favorite thing to do is ruin our paint job. All right, everybody, hold on to your butts. thing looks like Quaddle. Doesn't look like a feathered serpent. I'm confused. Maybe you're referring to like a specific version of that guy. All right, so I'm trying to tint this using our phthalo green, but you'll notice our colors are still going to be visible underneath, as well as all of the patterning that we got. So all right, so I don't think this is going to look bad. Actually, it's probably going to look nice. So we'll go ahead and do it on this side. That just sounded like a squeaky old fart at the beginning of that song. We're really in the mood for Browntown today. I don't know what's going on with the music selection, but all right. So we've done this. Now then, whenever we look at the other side, it should be relatively dry, and it is. So I'm gonna go back for one more application, but we're gonna keep it more subtle. But I have to wait for all this to dry, unfortunately, or fortunately, either way you look at it. I'm gonna go back and tint more of this area right here. I'm really focusing on the shadow areas, because that's really the only part that I want to tint more. We obviously have the highlight, but the application of the phthalo that I'm putting here is literally like a wash, so it's super thin. It's gonna appear obviously very vibrant as I'm applying it, but that's just because the pigment's wet and it's reflective. It's going, look at me, look at me. But it's really not that cool. Like Carol Baskin. Got her. Oh man. Still waiting on that episode 8. Even though I do feel bad for old Joe, because in the Grady County Jail, they do have cases of COVID, so I'm hoping he, even with all his weirdness, you know, I don't think he deserves to catch the COVID. So
I believe he already tested positive for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I read an article about that last week.
Oh my God, Joe. Oh, Joe.
But that's a common occurrence in jails and prisons, it seems now, that
yeah,
a
you
couple
can't really
people
stop it.
They don't isolate them in time, and it just spreads to the whole population.
Yeah. Well, hopefully his meth lungs keep him alive. So. But all right, cool. So that is, I'm looking at the neck, and that is pretty much the effect that I wanted to happen. So we're gonna keep layering this up only towards the top of the frill. Of course, that is the correct pronunciation of that anatomical part, the frill. Justin, what is this part called?
Did you say frill?
No, it's the frill.
Oh yeah, that yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, Justin.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you show your work on the board. I'm gonna make you show your work on the board. But all right, so we're gonna keep layering up here. All right, on the side. All right. So, definitely pleased with that. I didn't want it to be super obvious, but we're just gonna let that marinate. We're gonna let that part of the dragon sort of exist out there in the world until we decide necessarily what more else to do with it. Now then, what I'm wondering here, we need to start rebuilding some of these different parts of the wing, some of the highlight pattern, different things like that. So what I think I'll do is we'll just go ahead and make a fake color. So let's go ahead and do this on this side of the palette. Got my coffee heartburn coughs going on. So it's funny because some mornings I'll just do G Fuel, and then other mornings I do coffee. And when I do G Fuel, I don't get heartburn. Coffee, without a doubt, always happens.
Yeah, coffee's just so damn acidic, but it tastes so good.
So good. Yeah, we've been having a Bustalero, that pre-ground espresso, since we don't really have much else to rock with. I know that Parks Coffee is still open, but I mean, you can't go inside. I mean, maybe they do like roadside. I don't know. If it comes to it, we'll go see and say hello. So, but I've been missing my Ecuadorian roast. So I don't know if what I'm doing is really visible. Yeah, it is. I'm just slowly layering in more and more. Trying to redraw some of our cool highlighting. Actually, you know, I don't really need to be concerned with this part. Let me see. Excuse me, let me take a sippy of the water. Luckily, I know that my cough isn't the Rona because it's a little gunky from allergies, which is definitely not a part of the game. Alright, so we're going to be going back in, highlighting up some of these edges, and we're going to tint it back. Same process and method as before, except this time around, obviously, we've got a wonderful base of color to work with. This weekend on Patreon, we are working on natural texture. So that should be really fun. We're working on Vandus Maggot Crown, I believe is his name. I don't remember the actual name, but it's one of the Dreadmere Warlocky boys. I think he's like, the Reaper Tiefling. He looks really, really cool. But that'll be fun. And then the last weekend of the month, we're going to be working on the Stone Lurker, which will be fun. What we're going to do with the Stone Lurker is do some natural rock texturing stuff, similar to when we did the Stone Giant Carver, which is one of my more favorite paint jobs. I've done all of the sort of last Patreon set. And then we're going to do glowing ethereal tentacles. Ooh, for that part. So I think that should be pretty fun. But should be cool. The voting is still going on for all the new Patreon stuff as well, so make sure you check that out. Patreon.com/minipaintingstudio. So So I'm just going in and sort of picking out some of these points. And I guess sort of redefining some of them too. Let me see. I want to outline this top section, but I need to figure out the best way to do it. Here we go. That's how we're going to do it. All right, so compared to that side, yeah, I want that to pop more. So, and then I guess we're gonna have to go in with white because it's what you did on the other ones. So what else okay, so these sections, since they're a bit brighter, because there's a vein in the wing, which is really cool. And the vein actually then goes through the creases and folds in the wing. So that gives me landscape to do highlighting on those parts of the fold in the wing based on the vein, which is cool. Otherwise, you wouldn't really have that, so. All right, so I'm just sort of comparing from this angle, and I think that's good. So what I'm gonna do is take our white, or our Bethalian chitin, should look pretty white. I lied, we're doing splintered bone. I lied, last second audible. All right, so. I don't think you can actually see what I'm doing. Whoop, there you go. Not that it's important, but. All right, so we're going back the same way we did on all of the other sort of raised areas. And I'm gonna be going in with this way brighter color to help these stand out once we apply that final highlight. Or what, tint? Sorry, not highlight. There we go. Just want them to pop. Okay. Going back in with the phthalo. Lazy glaze. And it should look pretty good. Let's check it out. The idea, of course, being retinting and highlighting all of the stuff we just re-outlined. I will lose some of that warm tone from the initial tinting step, but it'll be nice. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for, was something more like that. So let's see. Add in some more. Here's the consistency that I'm working with for people that may be interested. So this is as much paint as I'm applying. You can see it's very, 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 very thin. Remember, you can subscribe for free with Amazon Prime to our Twitch channel. You can follow that link that just dropped in the chat. Or if you're watching at home on desktop, you can click the subscribe button in the top right and link your account from there. That's no cost to you, and it sends love and support and dollar monies to Reaper for doing the shows. Always a good way to show your support. Of course, that and then purchasing all the fun things that they've been doing as well, which is very nice.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy just rated us.
Oh, thank you. I was actually
How
watching
you
him
guys
earlier.
doing?
I was watching earlier. Thanks for the update on the sub, Motor City Ray.
How was y'all's stream?
All right, so relatively pleased with everything we've got going on today. I'm gonna keep applying this tint though. I feel like we didn't do enough work. Here we go. So if we're comparing the wings, right? So we've got this side that we just worked on versus that side where you can tell we lost a lot of that definition. We went in with the color tinting. So that's why we're gonna keep doing that. Fine cast model. Only because we all know how fun working with Finecast is. I'm sure the model looks cool, but it's funny to be like the industry standard of bad resin and still be so expensive. But, you know, it's how it goes with the good old 4G worldy. Yeah, that's a cool mod. Actually, I saw someone redo that miniature. I forget what they used though. It was extremely clever. So they used the big Nurgling packs, and then what's interesting, touch the side of the brush to get it out. What's the difference? Well, you should never take anything off your brush. I am staunchly against anyone rubbing a paper towel, anything like that. I think that is just such a waste. Such a waste. Because the issue that you're having there is you are not, like, effectively the way that I'm able to control the consistency and the surface tension that I always talk about when I'm painting. It's because of that extra layer of moisture that happens that I'm able to work and keep the miniature, like, or the paint active. And yeah, anybody that tells you to wipe something off when you're glazing, sorry. I'm gonna have a big old art nerd fight with you and argue that's why you're using a sable brush. You have no need to wipe excess off because you have control by using a sable brush. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, you already have the ability to do what you're trying to do with the tool that you're using, if that makes sense. But yeah, we'll art nerd fight. I'm fine with that. And then you have to remember too, the color that I'm using with phthalo green behaves a lot differently than a typical paint, which is why I'm able to kind of layer it on the way that I am. You know, all of the Reaper clears effectively work the same way, but the phthalo green is just so pigmented that I, you know, if I'm wiping it off on anything, it's going to be a detriment to my overall effect that I'm actually aiming for, rather than allowing it to happen. So. Oh, that's cool, Mad Cat. You can listen to whoever you want, but you are watching me, so that kind of says it all right there. But yeah, there's no need, if you are using the consistency that I use, to wipe anything off. I'm in the school of extremely wet painting, which is very counterintuitive to a lot of people, so. Lots of people in the chat can tell you that's kind of the biggest hurdle whenever they start following along with me, is not knowing the consistency or being able to pick up on it. But you can tell the difference between the two wings, right? That's kind of the whole thing. We're just re-amplifying all of the color that we would have lost previously. All right, so there we are. Now we need to go back in to all the, I don't know, again, these are fingers, right? That's what we decided the last time we were working on them. All of his little wing fingers here. I would assume so, right? I think we got lost the last time we were trying to figure out what that would actually be. Yeah, we're gonna go for the fingers here. The wingers? Okay, Andre, I like that. The wingers. All right, that's hilarious. It is now canon. So, same place we did all of that line work before. So I'm gonna be going into the crease right above every single section. A Pokeball. That's funny. So slowly sectioning it out. Remember, I mean, so we did, what, 9 hours of that ahead of time. before tinting everything. So, and all of this, remember, we did the entire thing. So I mean, you can see all the work that slowly got covered here, right? All of the line work is still barely visible. So now it's a question of how much we want to go back and sort of re-etch into the surface. Ooh. But I'm only going to focus it right around the actual hands here. Wings, those have a name. Those have a name. But we will call them, in Andre's honor, wingers, whenever we're working on these bits. Wingers? That sounds like wieners, though. I feel like we may get in trouble with that. Please be nice to us, Twitch.
I think you can talk about wieners, you just can't show them.
Oh, right. Didn't Proctor have like a whole stream where it was like all this anatomy talk?
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, he was in the studio, and that's what ended up happening. Well, it is, it's a dragon anatomy class here. And since this wasn't sculpted by Jason, there's no, goods underneath its body. I think that's the funny staple for his sculpts, is that you're like, well, is it anatomically correct all the way? It'll let you know who did it.
That is one of the things Jason's known for, that's true.
Including pillar and stones.
Correct.
Frequently. So just going back through the folds here. Now what I'm actually doing this time is highlighting up an angle that we didn't touch the first time around. So we're going to keep going through it. I forget what else is. So yeah, Dan Shan, the troll is very anatomically correct, but there are actually a few of his sculpts that are very extra realistic. And one of them surprised me. I forget which one that I have something here. I forget what I was working on. And I was like, wow, I did not notice that. Luckily, though, I mean, obviously, it's not as if we're working on, like, Kingdom Death miniatures, which is a totally different ballgame when it comes to that, so. Ugh, I just gave myself PTSD talking about Kingdom Death. That's the situation I was telling you about earlier. Justin, with the stuff that's at the house. I'm just like, ugh. It's such a shame that all those miniatures were ruined by now 2 very, very rough client situations, so. But then again, so what's funny is like, the only time I've ever needed a lawyer was for Kingdom Death clients, and my lawyer is actually a Kingdom Death client, so it's like a double-edged sword. So now we're getting into the wing here, where it is much more brown. So any highlighting that we do is actually going to be extremely contrasted by all of the other tones, right? Phthalo green is a super... Are you allowed to talk? Well, yeah, for sure. But, yeah, no, it's just people running off. Or like, running off on commissions. You typically you'll need a lawyer just to make sure, like, is it okay if I sell this off? When should I sell this off? Different things like that. And then, really, yeah, that's always been the issue. But in the instance of Kingdom Death, right, like that's very rarely I've had gosh, I've painted probably 8 or 9 sets of that game, including expansions, and typically they're always very high end, so it's usually a lot of money involved, and that's why it's kind of like, well, if there is a lot of cash involved, what are my options that I should go for, whether it's pursuing the person or if it's easier to just, take a loss and sell stuff on eBay or in the night market or anything like that. That's kind of the nice thing. The green is Phthalo green. And it is currently not a part of the you can just go buy it sets. It's part of the triad that comes with clear phthalo blue, clear phthalo green, and clear orange. That being said, there are some on eBay if you are interested. I feel like we could probably pay for a run of producing phthalo green at this point because a lot of people are interested in it, But yeah, weirdly enough, most of the rough situations I've been in have been randomly Kingdom Death, and then some random board games as well before I stopped doing like tabletop level work, stuff like that. That is just always troublesome if you offer too many levels, because eventually someone will expect something better than what they actually paid for if you're showing off box art that you've done for someone or a studio, but then someone paid for something that's like $10 a miniature versus, over 100 or whatever the case may be, sometimes that doesn't translate all the way, and that can cause issues for you. But all of those things are things that I had to learn the hard way, sadly, as I've been doing it for quite some time. Actually, what's funny is the Wapples, so Jim and Kathy, were people that were telling me like, hey, you should maybe move away from offering a bunch of different levels, things like that, because it's a danger, and that's why they only do their top. Now, I don't do my only best work because I do reserve that for commercial stuff, studio stuff, whatever. But pretty much the only two tiers that I offer now for commissions are something that looks really good that uses metal paint, and then something that uses non-metallic metal, just because that's really the only technique that ends up being a time sink for me, is every time I do non-metallic metal. So that's all I offer now. And then, like I said too, right, I do have studio level stuff for like when I work with Moonstone, stuff like I do for Reaper, like the Jacob miniature, things like this. So, but that's just such a different level of involved work. Like, this is close to it just because of how much time we put into it, but I also think that the technique involved that we've been doing, right, and all of the glazing and handwork, yada yada yada, it's you can't get away from it with this sculpt just because of what we've been doing. So, all right, now that we've focused a lot here towards the grouping of crazy spikes or whatever, go in and tint it all down as we did before, so you can see me applying that here as it then floods back into all the recesses. Really only because it's painted in a recess, that's the way it looks. But and again, everywhere that we did this previously in these lower areas, it's going to be pretty bright just because we faded out pretty much all the work that we had done. So if I kind of back it out and get it out of that sheen, you can see all the highlighting we just did. That is not apparent at all on that wing. So this is everything that we just built back in. Now then, the other question, right, is do we want to do something in the shadow? So what I would probably do is I wouldn't use a skin tone, but I would probably use like a purple version of this. So this is, oh, actually I take that back. We can use Templar blue. Whoop. I would use Templar blue or this earthy color just because it's a little bit darker. And then that way, if I went in and I tinted with like a magenta, something like that, it would be a lot easier, right, to do than having to go in and tint it twice as much, I guess, right, with what we're doing now. But not too bad. We will need to do an extra application of this, though. What I applied before was really thin because I just need more phthalo. It's not on the website. Oh my God, Jimmy, are you trolling me for real right now? I feel like I'm getting trolled about this green. I just need to put something on the screen that just in the bottom corner explains it.
Is
even even
phthalo
though
green?
I will say that explanation that I just gave, that Jimmy, you may be the fastest person who has ever asked me immediately after I explained it. So phthalo green was only available for ReaperCon last year, and then somebody said it was also part of Bones 3, maybe. But either way, it's in a triad pack that came with clear phthalo green, clear phthalo blue, which I've got right here as well. There's phthalo blue, and then it also came with clear orange. So this is the triad, right? So these are all the 3 colors that it comes with. You can get some on eBay. The person isn't scalping it like crazy, so it's pretty much the same price you would pay if you could get it in the actual Reaper shop. That being said, Jimmy, they're probably here in the U.S. I mean, maybe, right? I don't know how that would actually roll out. But like I said, we need to be petitioning Sadie, saying, hey, we need this color. We need it right now. So, phthalo blue. Look, I love phthalo blue. It's all right. Hold on. We'll just do a little demo of these since people can't buy them, right? Easily. I know a lot of people do have them at home. Do I have something that I can just ruin? Let me see. Yes, here we go. So I've got a weird thing here. What is this? So we got a gun. This is from a Dark Age miniature. So here we are. So I'm gonna take phthalo blue and kind of show you what it's like. All right.
Actually, I'll talk to Sadie and see if she may be able to make. What I might do is have some made and make it specifically for giveaways. I know people love exclusive giveaway type stuff.
Yes.
So I will talk to Sadie and I will get back to you guys.
So here is phthalo blue directly on top of a Zenithal application. So I mean, I like it. It has that same airy feel to it that phthalo green has, but the one thing I will say is that it just feels like a slightly less pigmented version of clear blue. So on camera, right, I mean, it looks cool. It's definitely light. You can see the application there again, just on top of a regular primer. But it just feels like, to me, a less pigmented clear blue. I mean, we can test that right here. I have clear blue. Yes, Dogfather, again, it's not for sale. It was an exclusive for ReaperCon. So let me go ahead and do clear blue on the other side of this thing so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Not that it's not a cool color, right? We know what the real star of the show is, though, out of this triad. So on this side of the gun, you can see clear blue is just so much darker, right? Just more pigment. This side, phthalo, much lighter. This side, clear blue. So really, it's just sort of what you're looking for. I do like it. It's a cool color. Okay, Nomad, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for that one. And then of course, phthalo green on top of just white or whatever, so you guys can see that there too. I need to get more of the color out. It's such a precious color, I can't waste it. So this color here, of course. Now, actually, my favorite thing to do is put phthalo green on top of lilac purple because the resulting effect is insanity. So you can see it's a super, super bright green. And then, of course, clear orange, if you had to guess, okay? Now, clear orange is actually really pigmented, very thick compared to the phthalos. But if I make a fake little wash out of it over here, yada, 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 you get it. It's just a clear orange pigment, and then I'll just mix it and make a real big gross mess. Look at that. Wow, it's modern art. But that's all the colors that came in that triad. For some reason, I have extra clear oranges, but I don't have any of the extra phthalos. I don't know how I got the extra clear. Oh, no, I take it back. I got them on a tour at HQ. I take it back. They had some of the extra paint they had was clear. And I don't remember when that was even. Maybe in, gosh, I'm trying to think, maybe in December? I don't know. Either way. Big gross mess, it's modern art. Yeah, exactly. Not that I'm knocking modern art. That's not at all my intention. So we're gonna glaze the whole wing section again here. I could tint this through the airbrush, but I don't want to waste my one good mask that I've been using for outside. in the world. And clogging it up with paint pigment, so. Hi, Arthur, are you awake? Nope, all right, good night. He just stood up, made a big production, turned around, went back to sleep. All right, so I'm pleased with that. Oh, you hoarded it. Of course. Well, now we know who to blame. Blame Greg. And he's in the wastelands of New Jersey. So we definitely don't want to have to go up there and raid his phthalo green headquarters, because that is a recipe for disaster. At least I think you're in New Jersey, right? Could be wrong. I don't know why I'm thinking that, if that's not true. And there you go. Yeah, with phthalo green, like the orange is cool. Obviously, we used it to tint. And then obviously I use clear magenta like it's a crutch, way too much. But that being said, for whatever reason, man, phthalo green is just perfecto. Let me see if I can actually show you that weird effect that I'm talking about, like a psycho. Hold on, let me turn around and just grab a random mini. I know this is a Reaper stream and we're working on a dragon, but do I have something that's prime? Anything that is prime? Do I have anything over here? Wow, I got nothing, guys. What's happening? What is happening? What do I have here? Are you primed in some way? This guy's primed in some way. All right, I'm gonna do this really quick. Okay. So, what can I do? Oh, this is perfect. This color right here. So I'm gonna tint this a sort of light purple. And I will show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so. And we'll let this dry. Then I'll apply phthalo green on top and you'll see what I'm talking about. Something about this color interacting with a lighter purple, it just looks insane. I think it has to do with sort of like the Veridaccio principle of an underlying color affecting the way that the light refracts against the pigment. I mean, I'm actually very sure that's what's happening, but it's just cool that these two colors interact the way that they do. So we'll go ahead and slap that on there. I'll show you guys kind of how it looks when you do it. It's definitely an effect that looks very like ethereal and ghostly. So if you've been wondering how to paint something that's kind of spooky ooky, or maybe even if you have some of the like these guys right here, if you have some of these clear ones and you don't really know what you want to do with them, right, you can definitely use this technique to make a very spooky looking ethereal stuff. Or like if you have Night Haunt models, right, from Age of Sigmar, something like that, it'll work great. So we'll let that guy live over there for a while as he dries. Ah, now you can see everything is dry that we've been working on. And I love the highlight. I mean, so that's where we came from, was right there. And then now we're over here. So definitely pleased. Way more vibrant. You know, I like the idea, since it is a shadow dragon, right, that we're leaving sort of these bigger patches of saturation. I do think that lends itself to the miniature in the context of the miniature. Great Fey feel. That's coming from the Wicked Elf himself, so you know you can believe it. All right, yeah, let's just finish out this wing. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some clear magenta, our favorite color over here. You Clogged. All right, I'll do the right thing and actually use the pokey tool. We won't just be a cap tapper this time around. Oop, there we go. And we're gonna do the edges of the wings. This is not enough room for me to work with right here. I need to completely transplant our lives this way. There we go. A great fey feel. It's like whenever you have somebody that's like a food critic talking about D&D monsters, instead of saying it has a mouthfeel or something. Is this one of those episodes that have Justin in it? Well, you can leave Owl, but he's here. Sorry to disappoint. Justin is the man behind the curtain.
Also, you can ignore Alkin Lunchbox.
Okay, well there you go. We have directions from the man himself. So now that I've applied that pigment, do what?
Sorry, he's one of my longtime friends. He's
Oh,
just here to troll me.
then yes, it's an even better episode because he's not here, right? Is that what we were hoping? So, what I did was I applied the pigment on the edge, and then I just used water to taper it out. Do the same thing on all of the edges of the wing membrane itself, but not the wingers, as we've now learned to call them. Now, because this is a clear color, it's going to look super intense, of course, when we apply it. But the pigment dries way desaturated compared to how it starts out. There we go. It's a nice transition. Do the same thing here. A little bit weird the further down the wing we go, just because of how the color layering actually played out, but all right. Leaving our wingers intact. There we go. It's funny how much the actual like color palette shifts as you rotate the miniature because of the angles that we've used. But I can see the magenta starting to dry. Definitely what I was looking for. I feel like I need to go back into this crease and add some, but I feel like that's going to be a little bit more tricky than I'm bargaining for. So I'm going to kind of ponder that option a little bit more than just jumping right into it. All right, get some water, just water on the brush. I always apply it ahead of where I want it to go. So if this is where I want none of the magenta, then I can taper it all the way in using surface tension. There we go. And we'll have a nice little fade as that dries. Oh yeah, then right here too, I guess, since that is a membrane that ends. I'm also probably gonna go back and follow it up the further we go in terms of the wingers. So we got sort of our boundary line there and tapering it out. I don't want it to pool or anything, so I am always going back in and moving the pigment around so it's not pooled up in any one particular area. Depending on what part of the sculpture you're working on, it can be a little bit more annoying, but all right, so you can see it's now dry up here. This is how intense the application of color is once it's dry, right? I mean, it looks super intense down here, clearly. Crazy, crazy. Wingers, is that wing fingers? Yes, it is. And that's thanks to good old Andre for coming up for the term, or with the term. All right, so now I'm gonna do a little bit of tracing up like this. So Yeah, pretty much everything I do is water tapering because I don't mix or layer colors. I literally just taper it directly on top of what I'm working on, which makes it so much faster to paint at all times. It's a good trick to have. There you go. So you can see I took that up the wing a little bit more to help identify the winger. Do the same thing over here. Kind of like lining, but I don't really line stuff. Not in the traditional sense. So just working this color up a little bit further. Cool, I'm pleased with that. But this is dry. Is this dry? Can I show you the phthalo effect? Almost. What's that Beyonce song? Let me see a phthalo.
So that's the one.
I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. I like how you were the fastest on the reply. You were like, yeah, that's the one. We all know Justin is part of Beehive. He's a huge Beyonce fan, so that's hilarious. I would say my power-up palettes that I sell on minipainting.studio in the store there are the best way to learn how to taper your paint with water and everything like that. But I'm not shipping any of those out because they're made to order. Under the current situation, I'm definitely not going to be doing that. So I'll make an announcement whenever I when the world is safely enough for me to go and do all that stuff. But I do have something that is intended for you to train and practice tapering with water and all that good stuff. But I make them all by hand, and I can't really do that right now. So I'm sorry. But I know there are people in the chat that have that tool, and they may be able to tell you if it works or not. But all right, so there we go. We've outlined the wingers a little bit further as we added everything back in. All right, definitely pleased. So let's compare our wings. Over here, we've got this awesome looking wing. I still feel like we need to figure out something here. Right around here to differentiate the wingers. I mean, we'll figure out what we want to do with that. Maybe it's a question of doing the magenta all the way through, but Jacob says it doesn't work. Thanks, Jacob. But we need to go back in, do the same thing on this side. I mean, you can see the drastic difference between the two wings. This is what we were working on today to begin with, and here we are now. Jacob, your miniature is gonna look so bad now. I hope you realize. I'm gonna paint you with I'm gonna put a clown nose on you out of green stuff and a clown wig. All right, so this is the effect I was talking about with the phthalo. We're now at a point where I can show it. So if you have like sort of a lilac purple and you take clear phthalo green and you apply it on top, it turns into like the weirdest thing you've ever seen. So we'll go ahead and do that here. What brush has the bigger belly? A friend just asked. I don't know what you're talking about. I use DaVinci Maestro. It's a fuller English round is what this one is referred to as. So you can see this effect that's happening here. These two colors contrast in a way that's very interesting. I actually used it for a flesh tone in a private lesson. Somebody was trying to do like alternate flesh tones, things like that. So we did like some very weird color combinations. Really what he was looking for was just examples of technique, not necessarily color. And we went with this and it came out crazy. But so depending on how you highlight it, if you end up highlighting it with lighter pinks to white, it looks like it's very ethereal and glowy. I would be interested in using this technique for non-metallic metal. You can see this miniature has been just an experiment with non-metallic metal in general, just messing around. Sadly, can't really do anything with the mini. Well, I mean, I can. It is from a game, but it's a dead game. Rest in peace. But let me see where we're at. On time? Well, we're over time. So, Justin, are you ready to go to sleep for the next 12 hours until you have to do it again?
Yes, actually, I am.
All right.
I actually have a bunch of stuff still to do. So, remember the thing we were talking about before this?
Uh-huh.
It's 100% a go.
100% a go, like it's happening?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. This dragon has been insanely awesome. Will continue to be insanely awesome. How many more sessions do you think, Josh, it will take to finish this dragon?
So one more session for this wing, one session to render out the back, probably one session to do this part of the tail and the victim, and then whatever else. So maybe 3 or 4, assuming they're about the same length of time. So, but yeah, I'd say that's pretty safe. But yeah, either way, Justin's becoming a go-go dancer. Yes, that is the rumor to run with. So
That's preferential than what we're actually talking about.
yeah, I know. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out today. Remember, you can help me out by signing up on Patreon as we work through different miniatures and lessons. This is an example miniature from the last $10 and above tier class that we did for multi-source object source lighting without an airbrush, right? So that's kind of the trick. A lot of people say you need an airbrush. You don't really necessarily need an airbrush to do that. So that's what we did last weekend, or not last weekend, weekend before. And then we have some cool stuff lined up for this month. So remember, you can check that out by following this link up there in the top left, patreon.com/MediaPaintingStudio, and or you can help me out on Amazon as well, which the link is in the chat. So thank you for pulling that up, Dark Abacus Bot. The AI is doing our bidding. So thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great day. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, and then that'll be it. Looks like we are rating Dan Makes His Mark. So I hope you guys all give him some love and lots of hype. We'll see if they put us in limbo today. Yesterday, they did a punt fake on us raiding somebody, so let's see. But
That was weird.
see you later, guys. I hope you have a good day.
Yes, thank you very much. And spread the Reaper love. Keep being awesome, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for some more dragon action. And we'll probably discuss some important announcements. So thank you guys so much. We will see you.
See you later, guys.